Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out, where we deep dive into ClickFunnels 2.0 and how to use it to grow your funnel building business.
Hey, I'm Susan.
And I'm Andrea.
Come along with us as we learn and discover how to use the new ClickFunnels and how to make it bend to our will. There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out. I'm Susan Leonardson. We have over here.
I'm Andrea.
And Dan Havey. Dan Havey is joining us today. We're going to dive in and talk about some updates in the 2CCX membership, right? Which is in 2.0. So before you get too excited, we don't have the ability to build memberships in 2.0 yet. We probably won't for a really long time. But we have some cool things. Well, I haven't seen any of this. I don't think Dan has seen any of this. So Andrea is going to show it to us because she has access to 2CCX because she's in the program. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Andrea.
Okay, awesome. I'll go ahead and share. And then, of course, I got to give a shout out because Susan has her hub up. And so we can't forget that because we're talking a lot about hubs and transferring over to 2.0. So I'm sure eventually it'll get back over there. But just wanted to give a shout out to your hub. Which
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Really nice stuff. Yeah. Okay, so they just released this week. This is inside of the 2CCX program. I think there's been some really, really good people in there trying to make this happen. And so we're super excited about this. And the reason we're excited is not just I think it makes a better learning experience, but it gives us a little bit of an indication of what 2.0 membership might look like because it's built on 2.0, like Susan said. So you can see here now I am inside of I've selected I want to go into the 2CCX program. And you can see first up here, which I think is really interesting, the start here, which I love, just because I think it gives people a landing spot, right, of how to get started. And then live sessions, which is also really cool because this could be what's coming. And then you could also potentially maybe do recordings, or past event recordings are right there. Perfect. Boom. Which is amazing. Which typically, I don't know how you guys do it, but I know in membership builds that I've done before, we just do a Google sheet that's embedded inside of a membership area so that people could just really easily drop the link or whatever. And it's a little bit janky. It doesn't really work super well, but it works from an efficiency standpoint. So I'm super excited about that. And if we're actually using the video service inside of the 2.0, right, that makes it even easier. So that's cool. And then the upcoming events too, which is always kind of a pain whenever you're having, especially a hybrid model of maybe some live sessions and then some on their own. Just being able to have that right there is just really nice, I think. So I love this. And for anybody who was on the KBB journey with us, this is very akin to what they did over on KBB. And by they, I mean Todd and Russell had built this over on KBB. So anyway, just really excited just for those little pieces right there. Dan, did you have something?
Well, no, I was going to say, I see that in June, you're going to Phoenix, Arizona at the JW Marriott.
Yes.
That's about 3 miles north of my house.
Oh my goodness. Does that mean we actually are going to have to meet in person or something?
No. I'm sure I'm out of town that week.
Okay. Well, if you get brave enough, I'm in.
Okay.
Yes. So anyway, so super excited about just that. And then you can see here, this is what I think is really interesting. I know, Dan, you want to get into the code, but these are the 3 tracks, so there's an expert and an e-com track. And then there's these bonus areas, which is just super cool. But I thought this was super interesting in terms of just giving us a couple more options of how we organize spaces and what we can do inside of that. From a UX standpoint, this makes a lot of sense in this particular case because you're either an e-com or an expert. And so being able to have that really quick right there is really nice. I think though, there's not too many other cases, you know what I mean, where this would be used and not be confusing. But anyway, it's nice that the feature is there. So I'll go ahead and go. Anything else, Susan, Dan, comments on that front?
Well, yeah. No, why don't you just show everybody how it works? You showed me this the other day.
Yeah.
Just tell me what they got. And then what I want to do is I want to go in and inspect the code. And I want to see, is this actually navigation module of some sort in their membership, or did they hard code this whole thing?
Okay. All right. I'm going to nerd out on a UX thing really quick. So, when navigation, so the history of navigation schemas is like, it is vast in terms of like the different models that people have used for navigation schemas. And there are people who in my field that are like experts just in navigation. And so what I think is really interesting is that the decision they made on this navigation. So one of the raging debates is if I click, so in UX, you oftentimes don't want a click action to do two things. Like if you usually only wanted to do one thing, so the customer knows always when I do this, I get this, right? But when you have like, when I do this and I get this, it splits, it's usually a bad thing, right? So, but when it comes to navigation, where you're faced with this issue, like when I click on Ignite, what do we think should happen?
Should drop down another menu.
Okay, that's one option. What
or
could be another?
It navigates to another page.
Exactly.
But
so
because
this
it has that little carrot there, I want to see something drop down.
Yes. And
well,
so one of
the problem I have with it is the carrot is pointing sideways. It should be pointing down.
It'll point down when it's open.
Exactly.
Well, then it should be pointing up right now then if it's closed.
No, see, I think my mental model is like Susan's. I think it's pointing the exact right way and then it opens when it opens.
Well, does it rotate when it's clicked?
It does. Yeah. Okay. But that, to what your point, like when I click on this action, they have made the decision to keep the one-to-one connection. So I don't actually know right now, what am I clicked on? I have no idea. It's not, the only indication is this light coloring behind here to tell me that I'm there.
Oh, so like you've clicked on something, but you were expecting to get navigated to somewhere else?
I was expecting to go to the head Ignite area, but that's not what happens.
Well, that could be put in that way.
Right. So it's just one of those, like there's not agreement in the UX community on what should happen. It's one of those like super geek out things. Anyway, but okay, so then when I click,
hold on, I'm gonna back up because I'm a little confused about what you said, Andrea, because you're saying that it should do one thing and one thing only. So you would have it navigate rather than open?
No. So the general rule of thumb in just UX in general is one thing, right? But when we get into navigation schemas, there's this immediate violation and nobody can agree on the best practice where it actually really needs to do two things. Andrea's opinion, right? I'm on the side of the camp, like butter side up, butter side down. I'm on the side of the camp that it should do two things, that it should take me to the place and open navigation in most cases. So, but yes, in this case,
can see how I wouldn't want it to do that though, because I may just want to open the menu, but I don't necessarily want to move away from the page that I'm on.
Yes. And that's a very valid, the other side, the butter side up. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, but they've chosen 1-1. And so I click on it, it just opens. I click on it, it just opens. And you can see the icon did go down. And now I click on it. And this is the point at which I think, it opens. So 3 levels down, which again, hallelujah that we have wayfinding, right? Like we were all worried about that. At least there's some degree of wayfinding. We have a nice structure over here. We have breadcrumbs up here. This is very Kajabi-like. If you're familiar with the navigation scheme of Kajabi, the way that this is structured is very Kajabi-like.
What I was going to say is this is, though, infinitely better than Kajabi, because at this point here, as you opened up Ignite and then you opened up Quick Start, you would have had to go through 2 or 3 different pages all loading on the screen before you finally got here. And then you'd have to go back through all those pages just to get back to this menu. Whereas 100%. Here, the menu is persistent from page to page.
Yeah, it's almost like they took the best of both worlds between Kajabi and like a Teachable or a Thinkific, where they have that left side nav. But I agree with you, Dan. I love that I don't have to like drill in, drill out, drill in, drill out. I have it all right there.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but that's what we do with regular memberships in 2.0. I mean, 1.0 is essentially the exact same thing. And now that I see this and I think about it, it's like, well, we could do that, how we do the boxes on the screen for the different courses. We could build the navigation just like this.
Yeah.
And just completely forego those course boxes, even though I like the way it slides.
I like the course boxes. I think it's a nice place to land, but yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I'm now at the third level down on nav, and they're doing this model where it's an overview, and then you can see intro expert is technically probably one level deeper, right? And it's here, but a model overview. And then I go to my intro expert, and you can see it also move over on the left side, and it's loading ever so slowly. So you can see that I'm in that intro expert. I'm one level deep here, and I'm here. Progress tracking does not work yet. So this is just kind of a big fat tease, but it's very promising in that I think progress tracking will happen, which is great.
Yeah, it's on the screen there. And as you know, it's not that terribly difficult.
Right. I mean, we're able to do it 1.0 with Airtable. It would be nice if it was already auto embedded. This doesn't do anything though. Like when I click on, it shows me it was marked as complete, but when I go back to quick start, and I go to intro, it doesn't show me anything on the left-hand side that it was complete, and it doesn't change the iconology on the complete. See, like there's no change. There's no state change. So it's logging in the database, but there's no UI change.
Well, we don't even know if it's connected to the database or not.
Well, there's some message that says it was complete. So that tells me something is happening on the back end.
Where does this, oh, Mark, no, where does it say that you're complete?
Look up in the top left or top right of my screen.
Right.
Yeah. See?
Oh, the blue.
Oh, way the blue up there. Okay, I didn't. Yeah. All right. You were scrolled down. Oh, and then it.
Okay.
All right. It only shows for a second. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well.
Yeah. And it does say page action equals mark complete. Yeah, I don't know. So, but it just doesn't show or render in the UI at all yet. So
that was when you clicked the mark lesson as complete button right there.
Yeah. And interestingly, because Susan and I have been on this project where we have been having a little bit of this debate on, do you auto progress somebody when they complete? That's the traditional model. That's what we see in Kajabi and a lot of other platforms. Or do you just give them the visual indication and then they have to somehow figure out how to go forward? So we've opted to do an auto forward. I don't love that because I think that it violates the rule of you're taking control away from the user, like you're taking it into a place they don't know what's going to happen. But the alternative, like you and I have come to, Susan, is that alternatively you have to help them get to the next thing to know to go to the next thing, which is also a kind of a design challenge. Yeah. So they have opted in the auto forward. You
could put in two buttons. One would say mark is complete, and the other would say mark is complete and go to the next lesson.
Yeah. So that's, and then we tried that, but then it's like it kind of gets into button craziness because then you also have like just go to next lesson, just go to previous lesson.
We also have next and previous steps and next and previous lessons. There was like 6 buttons at the bottom, and it was getting really crazy.
You get into like button night. Yeah, button.
Well, then, on a cell phone, then how much garbage are you going to cram into that thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, interesting challenges in the UX world. Okay, cool. So Dan, did you want to look at the code?
Just start in the go to the upper right hand corner of that the whole thing there on the left, the sidebar, and just inspect it. Because first off, what I would think that is a universal section of some sort. Yeah, it is. If you go up about another 6-8 lines, universal section right there. Okay, up a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. That's a universal section. So that's the only way you can really do this is because, again, in 2.0, every page in a membership is its own page. So there has to be a reload and go to the, completely different URL for each one. And then because of that, you, if you can put in this universal section, which apparently they did, so then you basically build yourself a template with the universal section on the left-hand side, and you use it for all the lessons. And I would guess the breadcrumb at the top, or whatever you call it, Andrea, wayfinding or whatever, that is, I would guess that's also an element built into ClickFunnels. But now if you come down and right click and inspect where it says Ignite under Expert.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got down here.
Parent module title.
Yeah, I would guess that this is all built right into the membership, it appears.
Yeah.
Because you got modules.
With unique identifiers.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is great.
Well, that again, that's a function of React. Oh, and one is marked as active, has a class of active, the top one.
Oh, that's good. So we could do a color state change if we wanted to, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would guess though, depending on how they got this set up, you pick your colors for for hover, for active, for whatever.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
It's a little bit of CSS. I mean, that's a couple lines of CSS. That's not a big deal.
Yeah. But instead of having to like count the sections, like in the color of the section header, like actually being able to have a CSS that we could just go into, you know what I mean? And say that would be awesome.
Based on their gold coloring on the navigation, I'm guessing that they're going to give us the ability to change all of the coloring, like the active the active lesson, and because no one's going to want gold, so we're at least going to be able to change that.
Right.
Well, and go up. If you go up about 6-8 lines again, you're going to see there it says ID equals expert down 2 from where you are. Just click on that and highlight it. Okay, so that's that entire. Okay, so that's the entirety of that module there, and then the button above it that is gold. Inspect that. Oh wait, you're on it right now apparently. All right, so that's considered a tab there then. Sidebar main, and then you got a tab, sidebar nav. Yeah, that looks to me like this is 100% a navigation module built in 2.0.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my only question was, did they just hand code this thing? And no, this appears to be part of 2.0.
Exciting, we're making progress, people.
Well, now as long as we're doing this, go to the breadcrumbs up at the top and inspect that. I want to see if that's an actual element as well.
Ooh, good call.
Go
to your page, the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, why do you have the mobile responsive view? Why don't you?
Just to annoy you.
Well, apparently. Wouldn't be the first time.
All right, here's hoping this is an actual breadcrumb.
I mean, seriously, take it out of responsive mode so that it's bigger on the screen so people can see it. Like me. There you go.
Yeah, it's an element.
Sure looks like it. If you go up again a bunch, it says breadcrumbs V1. So that should be the entirety of the element, yeah.
Yeah, look, data page element. That's awesome. Yep. Is anybody else super excited about this? Like, I'm excited to start building.
It's exciting also because like this was a huge thing that we know they were not going to release this without. And so now seeing it in action, it's like, okay, they're getting closer.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly that was the second of the trainings that was supposed to get released, even though we haven't seen the first training yet on the hubs. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting closer. That's all that matters.
We are.
Well, I had mentioned this yesterday in my group, and I think I had said something to Andrea about it, but I talked to an individual who has been around ClickFunnels since the very beginning, and the short version of what was said was it should be working by September. That was pretty much the short. that was what it came down to. It should be working by September, and I didn't get fully fleshed out what working means and who would have access to it by September. So
in my mind, that probably means it goes into beta in September. Like the point where we FHL people have some of our access, and they might be going into that phase of like, we're able to use our invites and invite people into beta by September.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm taking that to be. Maybe. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that that's what that means, and not that FHL people will be getting access in September.
Well, we all got plenty of stuff to do before then too.
Yeah.
With the delay at first, I'm just like, oh man, we got to get all this 2.0 stuff going right away. And now it's been how many months later? 6-8 months later. And I'm just kind of like, okay, we can put 2.0 on the back burner because I'm not going to kill myself until I really see something.
Yeah. September will be the next FHL.
Right.
So that'll be a whole year.
Yeah. A whole other year.
Whole
Sorry.
So maybe you're just going to be like, you know what? FHL will announce that it's actually ready to give them now.
We'll just say, yeah, what we said last year. Yeah, we were just kidding.
We were kidding.
Have either of you two been in the 2.0 editor much lately? Because I haven't been in there in really a couple of weeks. Are there any?
You want to give them the blog update real quick, Andrea?
Sure.
Well, you don't have to show anything, but just like real quick, because I know we have to get off.
Yeah. So the good news is we discovered how to do a blog. Bad news is that they still got a lot of room for improvement because it's like a 20-step process just to make a single blog post, which is obviously not going to work when we're rolling it out to people. So, but the good news is that it's working. We also discovered a place to upload custom font in the editor. So that was nice. So we haven't got that
there's actually
yet.
there's a place in there other than having to do it with CSS.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's in the belly of the beast. I can show you after. But
okay.
Yeah, it is convoluted and hard to find. No, and I got to do a big shout out to Nicole because both of us are in there, but she's really been like she's been the one that's unearthed some of these things. And so we're making blog posts about the 2.0 build to try to see like, hey, this has been our experience so far. And I will say though, true to ClickFunnels, their customer support, they only have like a couple people that are helping the 2.0 folks and they're phenomenal. So, they're really trying
where are you hiding these blog posts? Don't you want people to go look at them?
Do you have a live link?
We don't have. So this is my biggest issue with my release of the 2.0 is the freaking domain thing. So I have a domain on 1.0. I can't transfer my domain to 2.0 because all my funnels will break. So I did a subdomain on 2.0, but I cannot get it to work. So I'm a little bit in domain hell right now, to be honest, of like trying to get my 2.0 so that I can actually share the public link and get it to work. And I just haven't had time to get on with their support to figure out what's going on. So,
or you could just call me because I've only done that about 1,000 times.
Well, I've done it about 1,000 times too. So that's why it's like a
2.0.
Apparently not.
All of my normal stuff is not working. So, but I do think that there's something different because they have different, first of all, it's like a different CNAME. If it's a different text file, like it's slightly different. And I don't know if there's like a giant lag or if there's something weird. Yeah, maybe we can get on a call. I can show you, but there's something different about it than how we have typically set up the domains with ClickFunnels.
Okay. Are you running it through Cloudflare?
I am always. Namecheap Cloudflare is my combo.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Get hold of me and we'll talk because I know we gotta all jump off of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming, watching the replay, I think, because I don't think anybody watched the live, but that's all right. We will be here, I think, next week. Yeah. We'll be back next week. And we will have, we have already what we know we're going to talk to you about. So we already have some content for you. Things are starting to pick up a little bit, which is exciting. All right. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.